Hi, welcome back to Lawyerist Lens. I'm here with Jess Birken at the Minneapolis Grain Exchange Cocoa Workshare. It's a really cool spot and it's a good place to talk. Jess, welcome.
Thanks.
I wanted to ask you, so your main practice is representing nonprofits, right?
Yes.
And you charge for consultations.
I do.
How do you get away with that? Like, how do you get nonprofits who try to get all the work for free to pay you?
First of all, I mean, I charge for consultations and people pay me for them.
Yeah.
So I guess there's that,
I mean,
right?
have you compared like charging versus not charging?
Yeah, so I used to do free consultations and I did a lot of free consultations to the point where, it was maybe 7 consultations a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a pretty good closer, but there are also a lot of people where it's just, they're just kicking the tires, looking for free information. Right. And those people are never going to hire me. So it's kind of a waste of time.
So like 7 or 8 consultations a week then, how many do you do now?
Probably 2.
And do they sign up more?
Yeah.
I mean, my assumption is you tend to get more people signing up. So what convinced you to make the switch?
That wasted time and just wanting a way to, just to back up, there's like a whole other layer of my consultations where I do a lot of consultations for people who want to start a nonprofit. Yeah. And so a lot of times why people weren't hiring me was because I was talking them out of starting a nonprofit. So it's like, hey, don't hire me. You don't need this. Just go
There's
off on your own.
There's like a preliminary question and you need to answer that before you even come in your door. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, not to like toot my own horn, but I'm providing an hour of value for those people. I'm basically hearing their entire story and helping them formulate a plan to go forward, and that's a really valuable hour. So I think the way that I pitch the consultation sort of lends itself to proving the value in the consultation.
So how much do you charge for a consultation?
$300 basically.
So real money.
Yeah.
So people need to be serious when they come in the door.
Yep.
And then you had, like, for $300, you really are promising I'm going to give you some value during this time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you worry that you're missing out on clients? Because I think that's the number one thing. And when I was practicing, we kept going back and testing free consultations, even though our policy was to charge, because we kept worrying we were missing out on stuff.
I will say those first paid consultations, it was incredibly scary. I was like, oh God, I'm gonna do this. Okay, I'm not afraid of that at all anymore. Okay. Mostly because if someone is willing, so this population, right? You said it. There are a lot of nonprofits that just want free stuff. Yeah. Right. So. Am I going to have a good attorney-client relationship with someone who resents paying for my value? Right. Probably not, right? So those are going to be problem clients. Those are going to be clients that don't want to pay a bill. And if you can't pay me for 1 hour, who's to say you're ever going to cut a check for an invoice? That's
the main thing for me is, like, if you can't pay me whatever your consultation fee is, why are we here? Like, because my bill is going to be a lot more than that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Do you do the thing where you like credit the consultation against their hourly later on or
anything?
No,
not at all.
It's worth what it is.
And it's a limited scope, so I do it all online through Acuity. So they sign up, it's a limited scope fee agreement. They agree I am just providing you with this consultation. If you want to hire me, you're going to sign more paperwork.
You've done your own video about using Acuity for online scheduling. All right, we'll throw that link in the show notes down below.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you can see it, and I won't go over that with you now.
Yeah, no. But I mean, it's a very defined scope. It's a one-time deal, and for a lot of those people, that's all they need, right? Especially if they're not going to start a nonprofit.
Do you so this you sign people up through your website? When we did it, we offered a free case evaluation was what we called it, and the distinction was probably meaningless to clients, but our idea was we at least owe you making sure that we could actually help you before we charge you money. Yeah. I'm guessing maybe for you that's not a problem because you can help anyone who wants to start a nonprofit.
Yes. Well, and I mean, even for, I do have consultations that are paid where they're an existing organization. But the nonprofit, my clients are very like story-based, they're mission-centric. Yeah. Everything that comes in has some story. I need to hear all about their organization and its history, or I need to hear all about their interpersonal drama. That's the problem we're going to be solving. It's not a free 15 minutes, I can tell you.
How long is it, and how do you deal with the end of it?
So what's interesting about that is when I was doing free consultations, we would go over big time. Like they would last an hour and a half. And now that they're paid, I find people are much more conscious of, our hour is coming to an end. I want to respect your time. And I'm sure somehow they think I could come after them for that extra whatever, which I would never do.
But it's okay if they think that.
It's okay if they are more aware of their time frame. Yeah. So we end on time almost all the time.
And without having to like kick people out the door in an uncomfortable way.
Oh, no. Yeah. And if we need an extra 15 minutes, I don't feel bad about that because they paid me for an hour. So if I want to throw in another 20 minutes for them because they need it, that's great.
Do you ever refund the fee?
I have refunded the fee so like if they cancel for some reason, obviously they get their money back.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't give people their money back if they canceled.
Well, I have a no-show policy.
Okay.
In the fee agreement, it says, there's a cancellation policy. If you just don't show up, then there's like a $50 fee for that.
Okay.
Just like you go to the dentist, you
Gotcha.
go to the salon, whatever.
Yeah.
I have refunded a couple of people where it just, like they called in advance and it just sort of was like, oh, you don't actually need this. And so then
Gotcha.
I just sent their money back.
But not like you didn't get a half an hour in and then you're like, you know what, I don't feel like I'm giving you any value. You can have your money back. Yeah.
No.
Cool.
No, because I think that gets back to the self-selection, right? People are weeding themselves out. If they're willing to pay the $300, they've kind of gone through some criteria in their mind, like, am I going to get value out of this?
So you get paid for your intake process, which is crazy and awesome, right? People respect your time, and they value your advice. They probably are more likely to take your advice because they're paying for it, and more of them turn into clients.
Yeah, and my accounts receivable is fantastic. Like my clients pay their bills.
Because they're paying up front too.
Yeah, well, and I just mean like the quality of clients. Like I am getting clients who will pay their bill. It's not a struggle. They're finding me and they've identified themselves as people who are willing to pay for value.
We saw recently in a conversation in the lab, or maybe it was in our Insider Facebook group, somebody who works for a nonprofit, a legal organization that gives free legal services, they charge for consultations.
That's interesting.
Even though the legal service, if they accept you as a client, they will come to your house, everything is free, they do all the work, but they charge for consultations because they want people to be serious about it. And I was like, okay, if Jess can charge nonprofits, if I can charge people who are being sued because they don't have any money because they have a debt, and if a nonprofit legal aid organization that gives people free representation can charge, I think everything else goes out the window. You can charge for consultations, and it's probably going to make your life better.
And I know, so like Guy Sakalakis, I've listened to their podcast, and he recently said, like, you have to give a free consultation. I disagree, for those reasons. And I think that there are some fields where I could see, like, employment law. I used to be a front desk and a law clerk. Like maybe you need to give like a free 15-minute through your calling service, not talking to the lawyer, but through a calling service to verify, ask some preliminary questions like, are you in the right place?
You need to make sure you're in the right place. But even there, and I didn't charge for consultations if there was a contingent fee issue there. And I see the argument like, well, if I don't pick up the phone, they're going to call the next PI lawyer in the phone book. Maybe by charging you also raise the perceived value of your services. I don't know, like I at least want employment lawyers, PI lawyers, criminal defense lawyers. I at least think it's worth a 2-week experiment to see what happens.
Yeah. Well, and I'll also say, like, when people are coming in for a consultation, 99% of the time, I have already provided some value to them, and I'm really big on that. So, like, for founders, I have a whole, like, free ebook that is like, please read this, and this will get you prepared for our consultation. It'll, like, flesh out a lot of your questions. So they're already coming in feeling like, oh, I've gotten value from this person. If they're an existing group, like I give them something related to their problem when they email and say, we have a property tax issue, then
that's a whole series of Lens episodes, actually.
There you go.
Like how to provide value before somebody walks in the door.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to cut it off.
All right.
And maybe we'll talk about that on a podcast or on a future Lens episode.
Yeah, awesome.
Jess, thanks so much for being with us today.
Yeah, this was super fun. Thanks for having me.
In case you're wondering what this may have to do with your law practice, get your small firm scorecard. It's free, it takes just 10 minutes, and if you do it, I think you'll begin to see how it all fits together. You can find a link to the scorecard in the description below, or just visit Lawyerist.com.